You probably noticed when we looked at the examples that are included in FlashPrint that there are two Hilbert cubes, Hilbert cube A and B. What are these things, and why are there two of them? So if I click one to add it to the build plate, there it is. Very strange looking shape, which would be very difficult to print on our printers because you see all of those unsupported areas. We would have to include supports throughout this thing, and it would be tricky to get them out. We'd really need to have some kind of skinny tool that we could stick in there to get everything out. So why in the world would they include such a model? And what is the second one? Well, let's add that one as well. Examples, Hilbert cube B. Whoop. That makes just a solid model. And if I click off it, it looks just like a solid cube. But if I hover over, I actually have two separate cubes there. And to prove that, I'm going to choose Move and grab one of them and just bring it out. So you can see that they're interlocking pieces. And the reason these models are here is as a test examples for dual nozzle printers that FlashForge makes. For instance, the Creator Pro 2. You can see it has two nozzles, and they operate independently of one another. What that allows you to do is to print two models at the same time, or you can print with two different types of filament. Print one model, but with two different types of filament. So you can create multicolor prints. So with this model, for instance, you could use yellow as one of your colors and orange as the second color in the second nozzle, and this would print as a multicolor print. Of course, you'd have to go down to the machine model in the bottom left-hand corner, choose machine type, and then the Creator Pro 2, you choose that. Notice also that the bed shape is different. Nozzle size is 0.4, mode is normal, duplicate, or mirror. So again, with the two nozzles, you could print two duplicate copies of the same model, or you could mirror them. So if you had a right-hand model, you could print a right and a left-hand model at the same time. But what we want is normal mode, which is printing with two different colors. So I'm going to leave that there. Now I'll choose one of the models and right-click on it, and I'll choose that one to print with the left extruder, and I'll choose the other model, and I'll choose that one to print with the right extruder. And I'm going to right-click and select all models, right-click again, and choose Align Models so that they're aligned properly. Now when I click Start Slicing, I'll restore defaults, go to Printer, and you can see that I have a right and a left-hand nozzle, and also that I can choose different materials. So for instance, I could choose PLA for the right nozzle, and then left nozzle I could choose PVA, which is water soluble. So you could have essentially solid supports that would be very easy to remove. You would just submerge your print in a vat of water, and the PVA would dissolve, leaving just the PLA model. Or if I'm using two different colors of PLA, then I would just load them appropriately to the right and left side of the machine, and then the nozzles will switch. Click Slice, and it's asking if I want to add a wall. A wall is a good idea. That's going to take care of any oozing. You might have wondered, when the nozzles switch, generally you get a little bit of filament that can ooze out, and you don't want that oozing to be on your print. So what FlashPrint will do is add a wall. Well, let's take a look at it. We'll say yes, and then slice preview. So you can see the print is inside this sort of hollow container. And what's going to happen is when the nozzle switches from one color to the next, it'll move along this outer wall to get rid of any filament that might be oozing out. And then when it comes back, again, it'll move a little bit along the wall to make sure that there's no oozing filament, and then it will go to the model itself and print. Obviously, you can't test this yourself. You don't have a Creator Pro 2, but it's interesting to note how these dual nozzle printers work.